Chapter 5: The Daily Practice of Deliberate Boredom. You have stopped the debt of reaction. You have eliminated the phantom loops. Now we address the most insidious drain on modern focus: the addiction to stimulation. The problem is not that you are too busy. The problem is that you are never quiet. You move from the notification on your phone to the streaming news in the background to the constant conversation in your ears. Every available second of your life is saturated with external input. You use this constant stimulation, the music, the podcasts, the endless scrolling, as a high-tech shield. It is a brilliant, highly effective way to avoid the confrontation with your own unprocessed thoughts. If you are always consuming, you never have to process. If you are always listening to someone else talk, you never have to hear the low, persistent hum of your own inner chaos. This is why you feel frantic even when you're doing nothing. You are using noise to cover up the deeper noise. This is what fuels the entire cycle of overthinking. The consequence is simple. Your mind, like a messy room, only gets cleaned when you stop covering it up. The antidote: deliberate boredom. We are introducing a critical, non-negotiable component of your mental reset: the daily practice of deliberate boredom. This is not a suggestion. This is a command. You will schedule 15 minutes of non-stimulated time daily. This time must be ruthless in its simplicity. The rules of deliberate boredom: no phone, it must be out of sight and silenced. No music, no audio input whatsoever. No book, no consuming any form of structured thought. No task. You are not cleaning, organizing, or preparing a meal. You simply sit, or you simply stand, or you take a slow, unrushed walk. The goal is to let your mind run wild, but to deny it any external fuel. When you remove the distraction, the uninvited guests from Chapter 3 will come flooding in. The regret, the anxiety, the half-formed idea, the lingering resentment, it will all rise to the surface. This is the point. Most people run from this internal confrontation. They immediately grab their phone, their remote, or their book to suppress the feeling. You will not. You will sit in the discomfort. That's the key. The bedrock of quiet discipline. This practice is the bedrock of quiet discipline. It is the daily act of cleaning your mental floor. When the thoughts rise, you do not need to solve them. You simply need to acknowledge them without reaction. You can apply the label and let go technique. That is a worry thought. I will not engage. But you remain physically present and unstimulated. What happens is powerful. You force your mind to process the residual mental energy. You force the overthinker to show its cards in a controlled environment. Once the thoughts have surfaced and you haven't fueled them with panic or distraction, they begin to lose their intensity. It's not about achieving a blank mind. That is a myth. It is about achieving an ordered mind. You are building mental toughness by training your brain to tolerate stillness. You are showing your anxiety that it can shout all at once, but you will not give it the microphone. You have a choice to look at the clutter or to hide from it. The disciplined choice is to look. The time you spend in deliberate boredom is not wasted time. It is energy reclamation. By confronting the noise for 15 minutes, you ensure that the noise does not hijack the other 15 hours of your day. Stop making excuses for the constant activity. Stop confusing consumption with rest. Rest is stillness. Rest is silence. Rest is cleaning the internal slate. You don't need their permission to be silent. You need your own discipline. Commit to the 15-minute practice today. Accept the discomfort. It is the cost of admission to a truly quiet mind. You have now reclaimed your mental landscape. We must now ensure your sense of self is built on the right foundation. Chapter 6. Anchor your identity in action, not emotion. You have cleared the noise. You have created stillness. Now we must fortify the self. The greatest mistake most people make in their quest for mental toughness is building their identity on sand. The core error is this: you have tied your sense of self to how you feel. You define yourself by your internal state. I'm a happy person, or I'm feeling unmotivated today, or I'm an anxious person. When your identity is tied to an emotion, you are constantly at the mercy of chemical fluctuations, external events, and the weather. Your self-worth becomes a kite tossed by the slightest wind. This is why your discipline collapses. When you wake up and don't feel motivated, your emotional identity tells you, well, I guess I'm not a motivated person today, and the work stops. This is a profound surrender of control. Your identity must be based on what you do. You are not your mood, you are your actions. We must install a new, powerful, non-negotiable command. You are not your mood. You are your actions. Your feelings are temporary data points. Your actions are permanent facts. Stop waiting for the feeling to show up before you commit to the action. This is the amateur mistake. The disciplined person does not wait for motivation. They understand that action creates motivation, not the other way around. Consider the clear, simple examples that separate the amateur from the disciplined professional. A disciplined person is someone who runs even when they feel tired. They don't run because they feel motivated. They run because they have decided they are a runner. A financially responsible person is someone who saves the 10% even when they feel broke. They don't save when they feel rich. They save because they are defined as a saver. A focused reader is someone who writes the 500 words even when they feel uninspired. The identity is the commitment to the output, not the quality of the feeling. Your feelings are merely the background music. Your actions are the lead performance. Stop letting the background music determine the script. You have a choice. You choose the performance. That's the key. The shift, defining yourself by output. To achieve unshakable mental toughness, you must execute the shift. You must consciously stop using emotional adjectives to define yourself and start using action statements. This is how you fortify the self, by defining who you are based on undeniable, observable behavior. We're replacing the soft, conditional identity with a hard, resilient one. Instead of saying, I feel too anxious to start the project, I'm just not a morning person, or I'm feeling too tired to be productive, you will replace those with absolute action statements. I am a person who starts. Therefore, I will begin the project, regardless of the feeling. I am a person who keeps commitments. Therefore, I am getting up, regardless of what my internal clock is saying. I am a person who finishes. Therefore, I will do the next necessary task, regardless of how exhausted I feel. This is the path to true quiet discipline. Your identity becomes a shield against emotional fluctuation. When the low motivation hits, the identity responds, that feeling is noted, but my definition is built on action. Move. You don't need their permission to be disciplined. You need to enforce your own definition. It is not about being happy. It is about being reliable. Reliable to your word, reliable to your schedule, and reliable to your goals. The feelings will follow the action. Happiness is a reward. Discipline is the currency. Anchor yourself in the concrete reality of what you do. Do not anchor yourself in the chaotic sea of what you feel. Commit to the output. Commit to the process. You are not your mood. You are your actions. You have fortified your identity with commitment. Now we must ruthlessly protect your time and energy from the outside world. Chapter 7. The non-negotiable art of setting mental boundaries. You have built the foundation of control. You know your identity is based on action, not emotion. Now, we must fortify your perimeter. This chapter is about setting non-negotiable mental boundaries. You must treat your mental energy with the same fierce respect you treat your bank account. Every hour you spend consuming unhelpful content, every minute you spend defending yourself to a skeptic, every emotional outburst you absorb from a toxic individual, that is a deficit. You are running a mental overdraft. Your peace is not a renewable resource. Your focus is not infinite. You must become a ruthless financial manager of your attention. You must recognize that you are not being rude when you protect your peace. You are being responsible. The firm rule: your mind is a private club. Let's establish the core principle immediately. Your mind is a private club. Not everyone gets in. This is a firm, unapologetic rule. You are the bouncer. You decide who is allowed to enter and who is immediately dismissed. If a person, a topic, or a line of thinking does not contribute to your reset, your goals, or your emotional stability, it is denied entry. You don't need their permission to enforce the door. The two fences of discipline. Setting boundaries is not a singular act. It requires building two distinct fences around your mental property, external and internal. Both are non-negotiable for true quiet discipline. 1. The external fence, protecting the perimeter. This boundary deals with the tangible, real-world drains on your energy. It is the physical enforcement of your focus. Filter the inputs. This means ruthlessly turning off notifications. Your phone is a tool for your agenda, not a leash for the world's demands. Limit your exposure to low-value news streams and social media consumption that only fuels anxiety. You have a choice to look away. Dismiss the emotional vampires. Identify the people in your life whose primary mode of communication is complaint, negativity, or drama. You do not need to argue with them. You need to reduce your exposure to them. Short replies, firm time limits, and non-committal engagement. It's not about ignoring people, it's about disciplining your interactions. Every hour you spend absorbing negativity is an hour stolen from your self-development. That is the key. Guard your environment like your wealth depends on it, because it does. 2. The internal fence, controlling the narrative. This boundary is far more subtle and powerful. It is the refusal to allow toxic scenarios to play out inside your head, even when no one else is around. No rehearsal of trauma. When a conversation ends poorly, the overthinker wants you to run through it 15 times, perfecting your imaginary comeback. The internal fence says, no, the scene is finished. The file is closed. You refuse to mentally rehearse anger, regret, or revenge. Immediate topic shift. When the inner voice attempts to introduce a topic that is clearly fear-based, destructive, or past-focused, you apply the label and let go technique and shift your focus. You refuse to give the toxic narrative airtime. The moment you catch yourself negotiating with a worry, you shut it down. You have a choice. You choose the kind of thoughts you allow to live rent-free in your mind. This is the non-negotiable act of sovereignty. It's not about being selfish, it's about being effective. You cannot serve your goals if you are constantly serving the emotional demands of others or the neurotic demands of your own mind. Enforce the two fences today. Your self-respect is measured by your boundaries. If you allow noise in, you will have noise. If you enforce silence, you will have peace. You have protected your mind from external and internal threats. Now let's conquer the most common failure point for every ambitious person. Chapter 8: The Power of Single Focus to Crush Procrastination. You have established boundaries. You know where your energy must be spent. Now, we must ensure that energy translates into forward motion. We are confronting the universal killer of ambition, procrastination. We must immediately discard the comforting lie you tell yourself. Procrastination is not a time management problem. It is a form of emotional avoidance. You are not avoiding the work itself. The work is neutral. You are avoiding the feeling of being overwhelmed by the work. You look at the massive project, the thesis, the presentation, the financial cleanup, and your brain screams, "Too big, too hard, you might fail." That anxiety is the emotion you seek to avoid, and the avoidance mechanism is delay. You trade the short-term comfort of delay for the long-term emotional debt of guilt and incomplete tasks. This is mental debt. You must stop waiting for the overwhelming feeling to pass. You must stop trying to defeat the fear through sheer willpower. You must bypass the emotional resistance center completely. The immediate cure is just one brick. The immediate cure for procrastination is not commitment to the finish, but commitment to the start. We are introducing the just one brick method. When you look at a massive task, you feel overwhelmed because your brain is trying to visualize the entire skyscraper. This immediately triggers the panic. The solution is to trick your brain. Your commitment is not to the skyscraper. Your commitment is only to laying one brick. The just one brick method means committing to the absolute smallest, most trivial unit of work and nothing more. The work must be so insultingly easy that the emotional resistance center doesn't even bother to activate. If the task is writing a report, the brick is one sentence, not a paragraph, just one sentence. If the task is cleaning your house, the brick is picking up one piece of trash and throwing it away, not clearing the room, just one brick. If the task is working out, the brick is putting on your shoes, not doing the 30-minute routine, just one brick. You must state to yourself, I only have to do this one single brick. If I stop after that, I have won. The repetitive concept. The goal is to start, not to finish. Starting creates momentum. Momentum is the great killer of overthinking. The emotional resistance in your brain is focused entirely on the initial effort required to shift from stillness to motion. Once you are in motion, once you have typed that one sentence or put on those shoes, it is far, far easier to continue than it is to stop and regress. The effort required to stop and regress is now greater than the effort required to continue with a second brick. That's the key. You are leveraging psychological inertia against emotional avoidance. You are not using willpower. You are using mental leverage. The difference between a person who succeeds and a person who procrastinates is not talent, it's the willingness to commit to the trivial starting point. The disciplined person knows the truth. Just one brick, that's all. You have a choice. You can commit to a frightening, massive goal and remain frozen, or you can commit to a single, trivial action and instantly begin your forward movement. It's not about being motivated, it's about disciplining your initial behavior. Use this method today. Find the biggest, scariest task on your plate. Force yourself to identify the single, smallest unit of work required. Lay that one brick, then, if you choose, you can stop. But most often, you will find yourself reaching for the second. You don't need their permission to start. You only need your own quiet discipline. You have mastered the art of starting. Now we must audit your progress and ensure you are operating with brutal, continuous self-honesty. Chapter 9, The Daily Review. Stop lying to yourself. You are executing the mental reset. You are building momentum through action. But without a constant audit, without an accurate accounting, even the best system will fail. You must now implement the most crucial aspect of quiet discipline, the daily review. The disciplined life is not a life without error. It is a life without self-deception. Most people live in a state of soft denial. They vaguely know where they failed, but they refuse to look directly at the numbers. They refuse to measure the noise. The repetitive argument is this: you cannot fix what you refuse to see clearly. This review is a practice of radical honesty. We're introducing a ruthless, non-judgmental 5-minute mental review that must be conducted at the close of every working day. The only objective is to record your thoughts and actions, not to criticize them. Criticism is emotional. Recording is scientific. Stop lying to yourself about where your time and attention went. Stop pretending you were productive when you spent 3 hours negotiating with phantoms. You have a choice. You choose honesty or comfortable delusion. The core tool, the 2 audit questions. This review is surgical. It requires you to answer only 2 simple, powerful questions. These 2 questions form the feedback loop for sustainable emotional control. 1. Where did I allow the noise today? This question forces you to identify the specific moments where you surrendered your authority. Where did the uninvited guest gain entry? Where did you negotiate with a thought that you should have labeled and let go? Did you spend 20 minutes replaying a conversation from a month ago? Record it. Did you react impulsively to a message, giving away your 3-second pause? Record it. Did you allow a toxic scenario to play out in your head for an hour? Record it. This is the accounting phase. You are quantifying the debt you accumulated. You are measuring the precise leakage of your mental energy. It's not about feeling guilty. It's about seeing the data. That's the key. If you see you lost an hour to the regret loop, you know exactly which habit needs reinforcement tomorrow. 1. Where did I apply the pause? This question forces you to identify the moments of success. Where did you exert your control? Where did you apply the discipline? Did you successfully apply the 3-second pause when someone cut you off in traffic? Note it. Did you commit to just 1 brick on a task you wanted to procrastinate on? Note it. Did you successfully execute your deliberate boredom without reaching for your phone? Note it. You must track the wins, no matter how small. This is how you reinforce the new identity built on action. Every time you applied the pause, You are exercising your mental toughness. You don't need their permission to acknowledge your own discipline. The discipline of seeing clearly. The goal of the daily review is not to beat yourself up. That is the old, emotional way. The goal is to create a scientific record. You are the CEO of your mind, and this is your daily performance report. If your report shows a consistent pattern of losing 2 hours every afternoon to the catastrophe phantom, you now have actionable intelligence. You can preemptively schedule a 15-minute deliberate boredom session at 1 p.m. to intercept the loop. This is the foundation of quiet discipline. It is the non-negotiable act of maintenance. You wouldn't run a complex machine without daily diagnostics. Your mind is the most complex machine in the world. Stop neglecting the diagnostic. Commit to this 5-minute review tonight. Write it down. The act of putting the failure and the success onto paper solidifies the learning. It separates the fact from the feeling. It moves the operation out of the emotional brain and into the executive brain. You have the data. You have the truth. You are ready for a lifetime of sustained control. You have audited your discipline and established the feedback loop. Now we must define the ultimate state of a mind fully reset. Chapter 10. Living in the state of the reset. You have reached the final stage of the operation. You have performed the surgery, cleaned the house, and audited the results. This chapter is not about learning a new tool. It is about consolidation. It is about ensuring the mental reset becomes the default, permanent lifestyle. The mistake most people make is treating self-discipline like a crash diet. They go hard for a week, see results, and immediately revert to the old habits. Your reset is not a one-time event. It is a higher standard of operation that you must maintain daily. The consolidation. The 3 pillars of peace. The state of the reset is built on the 3 non-negotiable pillars you've installed. You must understand how they work together to create unshakable emotional control and quiet discipline. The 3-second pause. This is your instant defense. It separates the stimulus from the surrender. It is the moment you retain your power. When the noise hits, you pause. This is the act of control. Action-based identity. This is your internal engine. It ensures that your forward momentum is not dependent on fickle emotions. When the pause is over, your identity demands action. You are a person who starts and finishes regardless of mood. This is the source of toughness. Non-negotiable boundaries. This is your perimeter defense. It ensures that the noise, whether internal or external, cannot leak back in and sabotage your efforts. You are the bouncer of your mind. This is the maintenance of peace. These 3 elements form a continuous, interlocking system. The pause gives you space. Your action identity fills that space with work. Your boundaries protect that work from interruption. That's the key. The new standard. Controlled versus in control. You must stop confusing the old state with the new standard. There is a vast difference between being controlled and being in control. Being controlled. This is the default setting of most people. They're controlled by their inbox, their notifications, their past regrets, their imaginary future crises, and their mood swings. Their life is dictated by external stimuli and internal chemistry. They are operating at the whim of the moment. This is the old chaotic standard. Being in control is the state of the reset. You acknowledge the external stimulus, but you apply the pause. You acknowledge the internal mood, but you enforce the action. You are the final authority. You are not suppressing emotions. You are simply refusing to let them dictate your behavior or your focus. You are operating based on your disciplined intent. You have a choice. You choose the new standard. The goal is not to eliminate feeling. The goal is to eliminate reaction. Your peace is not the absence of problems. It is the presence of authority over your own mind. The repetitive challenge. The noise has to stop. Understand this crucial final command. The work doesn't stop, but the noise has to stop. You are never finished. Discipline is not a destination, it is a direction. The world will continuously throw irritations, temptations, and distractions at you. The reset simply means you have the superior tools to deal with them. Your peace is now your primary asset. Treat it as such. You wouldn't throw away a valuable asset for a momentary feeling. Do not throw away your hard-won focus for a fleeting debate on social media or a negotiation with the regret phantom. Every morning, you wake up and recommit to the non-negotiable 3. Every day, you conduct your daily review to audit the results. This is the simple, quiet, repetitive work that builds true mental toughness. The difference between a high performer and an average person is not luck. It is the sustained, quiet discipline to stay in the state of the reset long after the initial motivation has faded. You don't need their permission to be disciplined. You need your own integrity. Your commitment to this higher standard is your ultimate act of self-respect. Go forth and enforce your peace. Your dominance is just beginning.
Listen to me. The noise is not your destiny. The internal panic, the endless debate, the constant self-judgment, that was the old operating system, and you just deleted it. The 7-day reset is over, but the discipline starts now. You have the tools. You know reaction is dead. You know the pause is your weapon. You understand that your identity is built on what you do, not how you feel. You have completed the surgery on your mind. Do not let the wounds reopen. Every single day will challenge your commitment. Every inconvenience will test the pause. But now, you have the authority to dismiss the noise. Your peace is non-negotiable. Your control is absolute. The world does not slow down for you. You must speed up your discipline. The work is not complete until this becomes instinct. Now, prove it. Go back to chapter 1, listen again, and take action. Your reset is complete, but your dominance is just beginning.